want to weed out the corruption. And it seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's very serious. I think it's a very serious violation.
Okay, so this is the sort of stuff that Donald Trump just says and has said for years. And so on some level, well, can we really be surprised that he doesn't like a judge doing what their job is? So he's threatening them. Let's be very clear, that's what he's doing there. He's saying, if you rule against me, no matter how clear it is that you have to, that you're obligated to by the law, by the Constitution, by precedent, maybe we need to look into you. Maybe you're the one who's committed a serious violation of existing and not supporting me. Even if it's, in some cases it might be Democrat appointed judges, in some cases it might be Reagan appointed judges. In some cases, in these recent cases, it's been judges he himself chose. And yet I guess they became the deep state as soon as he put them in. And so, look, that's obviously scary. It's scary on two levels. One, when they actually start impeaching or removing or locking up judges who disagree with them, that's obviously very scary. That's yet another line we should never cross, but we're crossing them every day. But he doesn't even have to do that, of course, does he? For this to be incredibly scary, and for this to be a constitutional crisis. Because now, when judges consider ruling against him, they now have to decide, do I want my name to go on a list? Do I want the man who controls Twitter to tweet individually about me and do a weird press conference, as we'll get to? Do I want that? In the same way that we now know the Supreme Court is considering, like, where can we go against Trump? Because there's other areas where, like, he's definitely breaking the law or violating the Constitution. But if we go against him and he doesn't comply, then I guess the legitimacy that our entire thing relies on will be broken. So we really shouldn't go against him, even though the law's on our side. All of this, we're deep into constitutional crisis territory already, and we're just a couple weeks in. But I want you to know that it's not just Donald Trump and Republicans, and we'll get to them too, that are making this case that judges are an inconvenience that should probably be exterminated. He's also sending out what passes for one of his lawyers.
I thought the lawfare was going to stop when we got in here and won in November 5th in a sweeping mandate from the 77 million Americans that were tired of the last administration, but it has not. All we've seen is these radical left judges who maybe should have run for president themselves if they wanted to act like a president, trying to take action against Doge, against Bessent, a man that was confirmed as Secretary of the Treasury, who answered tough questions, who went through the vetting process, who was appointed and confirmed, and now he can't do his job. That's called a violation of something I'd like to call the separation of powers. It's a really novel idea, but our founding fathers created a document, the Constitution. There's a separation of powers for a reason. The executive branch is the ultimate authority on federal issues, and we have rogue judges who are trying to stop members like Doge team, Bessent, from doing their job.
Yeah, so there's a lot of issues there. First of all, the Bessent thing she's talking about, it never applied to Bessent. She's either just lying or honestly, like, she could just be wrong. Like, she's obviously, she doesn't understand the Constitution. She doesn't understand law. So I'm not gonna just go out there and say she's lying, because she doesn't really know what she's talking about in general. And so she also said the president is the ultimate authority on federal matters. That's not even the argument the other guys in your group are making. They're saying that the ultimate authority for stuff that the executive branch is supposed to do. You're just like, no, the whole federal government, the entire thing. Where exactly do you think Congress works? Minnesota? They're part of the federal government. That's what the three branches, they all are. My God, that you would put someone on TV like this who doesn't know the most basic stuff that any person applying for US citizenship needs to know. But regardless of the lies, regardless of the ignorance, the point here is Donald Trump gets to decide, and the judges have nothing to say about that, even though they, of course, never held anything resembling this position while Joe Biden was president. The judges had an obligation when he was president to step in. Now they need to sit down and shut up. But also, Congress doesn't even have a role. The incredibly friendly Congress that you can barely see in the frame of a shot of Trump licking his boots, they don't even get a say. He doesn't even have to talk to them, even though they do anything he says at this point. And so all of this should be really worrying. Now we're gonna get to other people weighing in on this, but Sharon, this has been sort of the story of the last week, that the one remaining check on Trump's insane executive orders, nullifying parts of the Constitution and stuff like that. They're trying to shut that down too. And what do you make of it?
Well, they're the last stance, the courts, because everybody else seems to be giving up freely. Congress saying, we agree to be irrelevant. I think that this is what they planned. He sure hit the ground running. Last time, as it's been said, he didn't quite know what the job entailed, and so he didn't quite know how to be devious about it. I think this is disgusting, and the Supreme Court is exactly where they deserve to be. It's just that we don't deserve to go along for the ride with them. They are making themselves look weak. They have made themselves look weak, and if it finally goes there, then what are you going to do to save the institution?
Yeah. And the amazing thing is we have not only like his political movement, but you have decades of right-wing media being like, we need to stand up against tyranny. And now the second we get tyranny, oh, they love it. Oh my God. They can't, all they can focus on is how happy they are and occasionally replacing their khakis. Like that's all that they can do at this point. Again, like we needed the guns for what? In case of a tyrant. They kept saying that over and over and over again. And now they've got the guns and they've got the tyrant. Weird that they don't have any plans for the weekend. But anyway, so that's what's going on. We have Donald Trump who's doing everything we said he would do and also more and also worse. I want to give credit where credit is due. He is more aggressively authoritarian than even I, the person with Trump derangement syndrome, assumed that he would be. And unless somebody steps up, unless the courts actually do something, actually strike him down, the Supreme Court upholds it, the Democrats grow a spine, unless something like that happens, we're either going to, I don't know, come out of this with no elections, no real separation of powers, we just have a king, or theoretically, this is now what the presidency is, and right wing buckle the hell up, because what's good for the orange man is good for the gander in this metaphor. And you think you're the only ones that can wield this now outsized executive power? I don't want it to be that way. I want to be very clear. I'm going on the record. I don't want it to go that way. But if that's the way that we're gonna go, then we can do that in the future too, okay, with one of our presidents. And we can see how much you like that. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.